Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are talking about Spyral, the spy archetype that has received a big boost due to Illusion of Chaos. One of the best cards in Spyral is actually Magician's Souls, and with the introduction of Illusion of Chaos, as well as getting access to preparation of rites, we now have a lot more access to the powerhouses in this archetype. So basically, the idea of this strategy is summon out a whole bunch of monsters to go into powerful link monsters, and then on board with things like Nightmare Griffin, with like Trigate Wizard, and Apollosa. Also, ripping a card out of your opponent's hand with a Pointer of Red Lotus is pretty cool. So let's quickly do the card by card and explain how this deck works. Then I'm actually going to go over the combo to specifically get out the Appointer of the Red Lotus because it is a little bit difficult, and then we'll go into the replays. So let's start off with the Spyral cards. We have two quick fix. This card is absolutely insane. On normal or special, add a Spyral gear to your hand, which we are playing either the Big Red or the Last Resort. Then, if this card is in your graveyard, you can discard a card in order to... while you control a Spyral Super Agent, you can special summon it by discarding a card, but banish it when it leaves the field. This card is really cool because, guess what? None of those are once per turn. Yep. It's just a really big body. And you can use him with something like Recital Starling in order to search out a DD Crow while putting him into the graveyard without banishing him. Very nice. Next up, we have one Drone. Drone is the on normal or special. Look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and place them in any order. This is really good because it looks at your opponent's deck, which then allows you to go for your Super Agent or your Double Helix. Now, this isn't all that important in this archetype, which is kind of surprising because that's like the whole idea of the archetype is spying on your opponent. But it doesn't actually matter because, guess what? It has other effects. You can also tribute it to special or to target a Spyral monster, it gains 500 attack. That's hilarious. You can also banish it to target a Super Agent in your grave and add it back to your hand. So there's that. Next up, we have the pseudo Spyral card. That is Magician's Souls. We're playing 3 of this card, the 2 Illusion to search it, and of course the 3 prep to search the searcher. Basically, Magician's Souls allows you to special summon itself by sending Master Plan, which is huge, and then also you get to dump things like Rescue to the graveyard as well. Absolutely invaluable. Now, Rescue notably is a revive if it's in the graveyard. You banish it from the grave, non-once per turn, revive something from the graveyard. Absolutely insane, so getting it into the graveyard with Magician's Souls is valuable. Also, Master Plan is the main combo piece to your combo. What it does is non-hard once per turn, you can add a Spyral mission card from your deck to your hand. Now, notably, Rescue is in fact a mission. So she searches out her own revival spell, which is very cool. On top of that, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Spyral monster and a Spyral Resort. Spyral Resort, let's talk about this one next. This one on, your opponent cannot target Spyral monsters you control with card effects. Pretty nice. Also, once per turn, you can add a Spyral monster from your deck to your hand. Not a hard once per turn. And once per turn, during your end phase, shuffle a monster into the grave or destroy this card. That last one kind of matters, but yeah, there you go. Next up, we have ourselves the 1 Super Agent. We're only playing the 1 because we can search it, and it's honestly not all that useful in most situations. But you can declare a monster card type, monster, spell, or trap, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if it is the revealed type, you get to special summon this card. Then if it's special summoned by a Spyral card, you can target a spell trap your opponent controls and destroy it. It's kind of okay. That last effect isn't really what matters. The fact is that it is a Spyral Super Agent, and it can special summon itself. Pretty nice. Last Resort, you equip to a Spyral monster, and it cannot be destroyed. And Sleeper, the one of Sleeper as well. We are running one of this because it is the end card that you end on, which basically you banish 3 from the grave, equip this with the Last Resort, you pop itself and 2 other cards your opponent controls. You do target, which is a problem, but other than that, it's fine. Also, if it's destroyed, you destroy as many cards you control as possible, and then special summon a Super Agent from your hand or deck. There you go. Hand, deck, or graveyard. So you could even summon the Double Helix, which counts itself as Super Agent on the field or in the grave. Pretty nice. As for the rest of our cards, for the Spyral cards, we're running the 2 Big Red, which is just a Premature Burial. We have the triple Resort, we have triple Rescue, and we have the 1 Assault. Assault is Rescue, but for the hand. You just send it to the graveyard, and you add or you special from the hand instead of the grave. As for the rest of the cards that we are running a whole bunch of other random combo pieces, or combo enablers. We're running the one DD Crow to search off of something like Recital Starling, and it's kind of good in the meta right now. Not insane, but pretty decent. So it's just something to search. Now, notably, this should actually be Doulahan. The reason that we're not running Doulahan is just due to it being an UR that's kind of expensive and not really worth it in most regards. This is, Doulahan is nice because it's a dark that is a different type, which allows you to more easily make the Curious. That's the only reason that it's there, but there is another line, which is why I'm going to show you that. As for the rest of the cards, one Maxi to call off of Crossout. We don't really care about Maxiing our opponent because we don't want to draw into anything. We're not running hand traps. We have 3 Ash Blossom. Again, we're just running as many outs to the Maxi, so 3 Ash, double called by, and 1 Crossout. Then, of course, we have ourselves the 1 Terraforming to search out at the Spyral Resort. 1 for 1 because we can get Souls, Drone, or Quick Fix, and we do want to send monsters to the graveyard, most notably Master Plan. There you go. Then, of course, we have the double droplet and the 1 pointer. And then, sorry, to round things out, we have the triple tack, triple tack. This is a just clean 40 list. Yeah. As for the extra deck, we have ourselves the 1 Recital, we have the 1 Link Karibo, 1 Spyral double Helix. It does come up occasionally where you want the second one, but it rarely does. You could switch out the Ausa for the second one, but if your opponent like maxes you can go into the Ausa and it makes itself a spellcaster, which is pretty nice. And then you could potentially make Curious with Earths instead of Darks. Next up, we have the 1 Cerberus, we have the 1 Nightmare Phoenix, we have 1 Masquerena, 1 Barricade Borg Blocker. This card is actually very important to the combo, and I'll show you in a second. We have the 1 Tregate, 1 Curious, Unicorn, Selene, Nightmare, Griffin, Apollosa, and Access Code Talker. So let's hop into the... I'm going to hop into solo mode, show you the combo, and then go from there. Alright, so one thing that is great about this version of the deck is that basically every hand gets you to your combo. This version is very consistent. A lot of other people will play like Dangers and stuff like that, which can be very hit or miss and make the deck a little bit more inconsistent. This version, very clean, very simple. You basically always do the combo. However, you don't really have much that you can do to play through boards, but you play through hand traps incredibly well. And with something like Forbidden Droplet, sometimes you just happen to draw it, and you have the out. So we're going to start here with the Illusion of Chaos. We want to search out the Magician's Souls because it is so incredibly valuable, and we're going to put back the Illusion of Chaos, obviously. Then we can go for our Spyral Resort. We can activate its effect in order to search out the Quick Fix. Quick Fix is the main starter for your combo, so there's that. Now we can go for the Magician's Souls in order to dump the Master Plan, and we can send it to the graveyard. Now, granted, we didn't actually need to search the Quick Fix here. We could have searched something else because we already drew the Big Red, and Big Red is a hard once per turn, rare in this archetype, but normally you just grab the Quick Fix. It's a nice monster to utilize. So we can now bring out the Master Plan, and then activate the Master Plan effect in order to add Rescue to our hand. Now, one cool thing that you can do is with Magician's Souls, you can actually send the Big Red to the graveyard as well as the Rescue. Obviously, we want Rescue in the grave because it's a revive, and Big Red doesn't send our monster to the grave. Doesn't really matter what we drew, just drawing 2 and getting Rescue into the grave is the important part. Now we can go for our Quick Fix here, and we can activate its effect, and we're going to search out the Drone here. Again, the Big Red is already a hard once per, so there's no real point in going for that. Now, this is where the lines can vary wildly. There are a myriad of different things that you can do. If, for example, we happened to draw another Rescue or something like that, we could go for the Barricade Borg Blocker, but I do want to show you the Curious line, so I'm going to do that anyway. Normally here, I would probably go double Helix and try and go for Trigate Wizard or like Apollosa Trigate Wizard and the like, but instead we're going to go for the Link Karibo into Curious line. So we do have to summon the Link Karibo, and I'll show you why in a second. And then we can go for the Barricade Borg Blocker, utilizing those 2. So out comes the Barricade Borg Blocker, and we can activate in Chainlink 1 the Master Plan, and then Chainlink 2 the Barricade Borg Blocker to protect from the Ash Blossom. We're going to pitch Drone because it's easier to special summon from the grave than it is from the hand in this deck, so there you go. We're then going to activate the Master Plan in order to search out our Super Agents so that we could potentially special summon. We also grab up the second resort. We're going to activate the resort here. Why not? Just grab up another monster so that we don't potentially draw into it off of something else, right? So we're going to activate its effect in order to grab up the sleeper here so that we have sleeper access for our end board. We're then going to go and start with the rescue here. Activate its effect, and we can, well, okay, we do have to go for the master plan here. Actually, no, we don't. We could go for the quick fix here. So we could either go quick fix in order to special summon itself and then tribute it off for the Link Karibo. You know what? I'll just show you. So if this was quick fix, we could tribute off the quick fix instead and keep the 3 darks with the Magician Souls, the Link Karibo, and the Barricade Board blocker. But in this case, we're going to tribute off the Magician Souls in order to grab up another rescue instead. So rescue is probably a little bit more important here. But now we're kind of at a weird point. Let me check how many spells we have. Okay, so notably we do actually have 3 spells. So we could go like Selene here, which is something that we could do. We could also go Curious. That's also an option. But we kind of need to hit the Super Agent for it to really work with the Curious line. So I'm actually going to just activate this now, because if we don't hit it, it doesn't really work. We call monster, we get the special summon. Okay, so now at this point, we actually are able to go for the Curious line. So we're going to go and link these off for Curious. And the reason that you have to hit that, well, normally if you are able to get another rescue or something like that into your graveyard, you don't need to hit that. You just need another monster on your field, or you'd have to use Spyral Sleeper, which isn't great. So there you go. Anyway, we're going to activate our Curious here, which will send the Appointer of the Red Lotus. Now, if you don't know what this card does, basically, you pay 2,000, reveal your hand, look at your opponent's hand, and banish a card from their hand until the next end phase. This means that if they are trying to, like, break your board, you basically get to pick the card that is going to be the most problematic for you out of their hand, which is really good in a build like this. So now we can actually go quick fix as well, since we have the Super Agent on our field, in order to dump the rescue and special summon itself. This will then also trigger itself in order to search out the last Big Red. The Big Red isn't going to do anything this turn, but it's a nice follow-up. Then we can go and link 2 off into our double helix. And now we know what's on the top of their deck, which is the monster card, so we can call the monster here, and double helix is now going to special from deck. Now we can either go for the master plan, or we can go for the quick fix. Obviously, we are out of search targets for the quick fix, so we're going to go for the master plan here. And we can also summon from grave if we need to. So we're going to activate the master plan, and we are going to search out another rescue, because why not? And now we can go for our link for Nightmare Griffin. Now, if you don't know what Nightmare Griffin does, that's okay. Because basically what it allows us to do is, as long as our monsters are linked to something, they don't have to be co-linked, just linked, we are able to activate effects. However, your opponent cannot activate effects of monsters unless they are linked. So, what this allows us to do is Nightmare Griffin is now going to also set the Appointer of the Red Lotus. So, during the start of the opponent's turn, we flip it up and look at their hand. And at this point, we can basically continue to combo off however we want, ending on the sleeper as well. I'm not going to do that just because this has already gone on a bit too long, but now we can special summon this guy, we can set the droplet, and we can pass. Sorry. We also need to make sure that we grab up the last resort so that we can go and equip the last resort here to it, and then we are able to pop our own Spyral Sleeper, which won't actually be destroyed thanks to the last resort. And then we get to target this and target 2 cards our opponent controls. Similar to Blackout. It's basically just Blackout, but not a trap card. So, there you go. And then, yeah, we'll pass the turn and I'll show you how a pointer works. A whole bunch of things are going to resolve. This one's going to resolve. We're going to activate the necessary pay cost. We're going to shuffle back the Magician Souls. I probably should have shuffled back the Maxi, but that's fine. So, in standby phase, we can turn our Chain Link on, activate the Appointer of the Red Lotus, and we get to show our hand and then look at our opponent's hand. We're going to take the, I don't know, Parallel Twister, I guess. Doesn't really matter, but yeah, that's how it works. Alright, so now I will show you what the deck actually does, and hey, look, we drew the Magician's Souls. So we're going to start off with the Illusion of Chaos, just to kind of bait out something like an Ash, maybe they want to Ash it. Okay, cool. So we're going to grab up the Magician's Souls. It's also not bad to have a second one. We're going to special summon it, and then activate our Big Red, which we also happened to draw, and bring out our Master Plan. Activate the Master Plan in order to search out the second rescue, and we're probably going to send both rescues to the graveyard, and away they go. We're going to draw two, fantastic, and link both of those off into Barricade Borg Blocker. And then we're going to activate the Master Plan, as well as in sequence, the Barricade Borg Blocker, and we're going to actually pitch ourselves the Magician's Souls, just in case. So we're going to then search out our Quick Fix off of the Master Plan and the Spyral Resort. We're then going to normal summon Quick Fix and add the Drone to the hand, as you had seen previously. Next, we are going to activate our Spyral Resort to grab up the Super Agent here, and then we are going to go and special summon another monster using our Master Plan. So we're going to go and bring this guy out, activate its effect, and then search out another rescue. Then we are going to link off and do the Curious line that you saw previously. So we're going to link off all of those into Curious. Activate the effect in order to dump the Appointer, and we didn't hit anything here. I guess the one card of note is actually the Max C, just in case they now Max C, and we, you know, cross out wouldn't be able to work. Anyway, we get to bring out our Master Plan here and search out the last of our Spyral missions, that being Assault. So, now we are going to just hope that we call correctly, and guess what we did? I noticed that they were on 60 cards, and I was like, the likelihood of them having a lot of monsters is higher than something like a spell or a trap. So, of course, we did call it right. It was Necro World Banshee. So we get a special summon out our Spyral Super Agent, and then we get to go for the Quick Fix here. So we're going to activate the Quick Fix effect in order to search out our Last Resort, and then we can link off those two. And at this point, you've seen this line before, but yeah, getting there was slightly different. So we're going to special summon out our second Quick Fix in order to go into the Big Red, and then we'll link off those two into the Nightmare Griffin. Activate the Nightmare Griffin effect, pitching the Assault, so that we can special summon from hand, and we're going to activate that in order to special summon the drones, which would then was not pointed at the link point, which means that we don't get to activate its effect because Griffin is a floodgate that is reciprocal. Anyway, now we're going to link off into an Appaloosa here, and then we get to activate our drones effect in order to add back the Spyral double helix to our extra deck, and then we get to bring back the Master Plan as well, and link those off for a Cerberus. The reason I go for Cerberus here is because anything that is co-linked cannot be destroyed by card effect. And, you know, with a Pointer of the Red Lotus and stuff like that, I'm feeling like the card destruction is way more important. However, we're just going to look at our opponent's hand, so I'm not feeling that bad. We're going to shuffle back the Super Agent and then pass the turn. So, at this point, we have 3 monster negates. They cannot actually activate any monster negates unless they are, or monster effects, unless they are linked, or I should say special summoned monster effects, unless they are linked. So, Appaloosa, you know, gave them an arrow, kind of sad, not really anything that I can do about that one there. I guess I gotta put it over here, but then it wouldn't have been co-linked, so there you go. And we get to rip a card out of their hand, and our monsters are protected thanks to Cerberus. We also have the hand trap of Ash, so not the worst. But let's look at their hand, and look at that, it's grass! I mean, I have Ash in the hand, but I'm gonna rip it out of their hand just to make them feel ever so worse. The rest of this hand kind of doesn't do anything, so there you go. Also a Guido. And my opponent realizes that they can't do anything, and concedes. Alright, so here we are once again going first, and again we have the combo, and with Crossout and Ash Blossom, we are pretty protected. So we're going to start off with the Illusion of Chaos. We're going to search out the Magician's Souls. Magician's Souls is just a stupid card. Why is Master Plan a spellcaster? Oh, cool, Cockroach! Well, luckily we have the Ash Blossom for this, so it's fine. So we're going to special summon out our Magician's Souls, activate the Big Red, and grab up the Master Plan, and there's the scoop. Yeah, this is how most of my duels went. Once they realized that they didn't have the hand traps necessary to stop the combo, they just kind of left. So there you go. Alright, so we're back with the deck, and in all honesty, this deck is, one, very expensive. There's lots of URs in here. But most of them are things that are just pretty easy to obtain. The Magician's Souls, as well as the Illusion of Chaos, are things you can get from the structure deck, and the rest are just kind of generic cards that you should probably already have. However, not Nightmare Griffin and the Curious and the Double Helix and the Super Agent. But other than that, I think all the rest are fine. The rest of the deck, however, is not equipped to go second. That, I think, is probably the biggest issue with this deck, is that if you go second, you're just kind of screwed. There is not much that you can do. Even drawing something like Triple Tech or Forbidden Droplets isn't enough sometimes, because, you know, sometimes you don't have the right things to send, or sometimes you don't have, like, monster effects that you have to deal with. Like, for example, you playing against Runic, and they have, like, you know, spell or trap negation or something like that, or, you know, Runic's Destruction, which just entirely destroys you because of Spyral Resort, needing to resolve and, like, actually be on the field. So, yeah, I can't really say with confidence, like, you should play this deck. However, I think that one of the biggest issues behind this deck not seeing as much success or not seeing as many people playing it is its complexity as well as its cost. It seems like something that isn't really worth the value that you get out of it compared to something like, I don't know, Flunder or Runic or something along those lines, right? Kind of costs the same as like Runic, but Runic is significantly easier and you can climb easier, yada yada. I would say, however, this deck is way more fun. It is super enjoyable to play. It's super enjoyable to go through the lines. Being able to go for either the Trigate Wizard or the Nightmare Griffin lines are very interesting. Most of the time I went for the Nightmare Griffin just because I've already done the Trigate Wizard stuff before, and I kind of wanted to test some new things. But honestly, both options are very good. They're very strong end boards that are very difficult to out. For example, having a Trigate Wizard that is an Omni-Negate while also being just indestructible from both card effect and battle is very cool, and then also having Apollousa on top of it to negate monster effects is very funny. So there you go. All in all, though, the deck is just, it's a little hit or miss. Most of the time, you can play through multiple hand traps pretty effectively. However, sometimes, you know, I mean, Nib isn't really that big of an issue, but something like an Imperm at the right time, if you don't have the right options, can be problematic. Like, for example, if you don't have a rescue already in hand for you to pitch off of a barricade board blocker to respecial another monster, yeah, that can oftentimes be enough after you get Master Planned. Or like ashing your Magician Souls, or I guess Illusion of Chaos would be even worse. Lots of things like that. But that's also why we're playing Triple Tech, so that we can potentially draw 2 and continue our combos as if nothing happened. So there you go. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this was informative and that you did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.